All right, here we go. Celtics live postgame. How sweet it is to get back in the win column, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live reacting to the Celtics win over the Raptors. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the stream, and if you're watching on Periscope or Twitch, get your butt over to YouTube and join the community over there. Thank you guys for subscribing and liking in advance, and let's talk some Celtics win. I mean, I was so confident in this team going into this game, right? So I'm not floored by the win, but anything is possible with this year's Celtics. But to see them, just go in there and kind of take care of business, there was never really the chance of, oh boy, this one's slipping away. It's tough. They take them down 120 to 106, but it wasn't the usual suspects. It wasn't like right away. It was like, oh, Jason Tatum's going off this game. It's going to be a win. It wasn't, oh, Jaylen Brown's having an amazing career high night. They're going to win. It was Ojeye. Ojeye and Payton Pritchard kind of carried the workload early. Kemba Walker did too. We'll talk about him on the stream, I'm sure. But Ojeye came in and I feel like hit a million threes in the first 30 seconds of the game. And I was like, okay, Semi. So without further ado, before we get into the box score, and I'm sure we'll flash this graphic up a couple times during the stream for people joining at different times, but we got to get to the Celtics live post-game player of the game. Ojeye. Oh, not 34 points. We're killing it. He has 24 points and 6 rebounds. Let's update that live. I think that was left over from Tatum, maybe? I want to say. But so 24 points and 6 boards from Semi here. Overall, I mean, Semi, I feel like, and I've kind of ragged on him in the streams, right? I've kind of given it the old, he kind of tricked us at the beginning of the year. He was off to a great start. He was playing well. And then the past few games, he kind of right? Well, this was not a type of game. This is a Ojeye takeover type of game. Payton Pritchard too. Let's get into the box score as we talk about that, and then we will get to some chat here. All right, so like I said, 120 to 106 dub for the Celts. We'll just go top to bottom here. Jason Tatum, 17 points, 38 from the field, 33% from three. Yeah, not the best game from him. 9 assists, though, you'll like to see that. 9 assists from Jason Tatum. Shout out for that. Ojeye, 30 minutes played, 24 points, 6 boards, 8 of 12 from the field, and 6 of 8 from 3. 6 of 8 from 3 for Semi. Daniel Tice, 8 points, 5 boards. Jaylen Brown. Now, we know Jaylen Brown's kind of bumped and bruised, right? We know they said that he might have some knee tendonitis, so on and so forth, so I'm willing to cut him some slack here, especially because other guys were going off, I guess. But Jaylen Brown did not look too good. The shots weren't falling from him, especially as such an efficient guy. We're not used to seeing that. Only 3 of 14 from the field from him. Didn't even make a single one of his 4 attempts from 3. I would say yikes if this was a loss, and I would dig into that and probably think that, it's a call to concern. But getting the win against, one of your rivals as of late, other guys stepped around. I'm not too hard on Jaylen Brown tonight. Kemba Walker, on the other hand, great game from him. I do think, some of the shooting woes continued in terms of from the field, only 41%, but some of those threes looked a little bit better. 21 points from him, 5 rebounds and 3 assists, and then Payton Pritchard, 20 points, 5 boards. Let's go. A Celtics dub. We're back in the win column. It's good. It's good to see, taking on, and I know this Raptors team was injured and they're not nearly the Raptors team that we even saw less than a year ago, but it's still good to lace them up, play against one of your rivals, play against a team that is going to play you tough and kind of take care of business. Let's get to some chat here. Birkin says, Toronto was on a mission to stop the Jays tonight. They forgot about one thing, OJELEYE and the Boston Tea Party. AC says 30 assists. I think even Dennis Johnson had one when they moved the ball. They're deadly. I mean, that was, and now I will say this, it was Tatum not going off, Jaylen not going off, so the lack of iso ball was clear, right? But, I don't know if I would take the rely on Ojeye for 24 and Payton Pritchard for 20, and as long as we play team basketball, over the Tatum's going to go for 25, Jaylen's going to go for 25. Iso ball is good and really, really helpful and really, really, crucial to wins in this league. Obviously, too much of either is a bad thing, but I will say I don't want to rely on 30 assists a game. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to have, but it's clear that, the studs didn't go off tonight. Or did they? Is Ojeye a stud? Question mark? I don't know. Sergio says, love the team today. Great game from Semi, but we have to have this every night from him. I don't know about every night's 24 points from him, but to be completely playable every single night, that's huge. You saw what Semi can do when he's playing well. Forget the 24 points for a second. Cut it in half. Cut it, in 3. Take 8 points from him. If he can stretch the floor, make his open threes, and play good defense, that's what we need from Semi. So this is completely exceeding expectations, but I think this is just a depiction of what he is able to do. And we don't need this every single night, but if he can do some of that, hell yeah. Kevin says, Semi, Ray Allen, Ojeye look great tonight. Veronica says, player of the game, Semi. Yeah, so right now, and I know I told you guys we'd keep track of it, I believe we're sitting at Tatum with 1 game, and we're only doing it after wins. I think that makes sense. So Tatum with 1, and then Semi Ojeye with 1. Veronica says, maybe Pritchard. Pritchard would have been the next option, but you can't take away from Semi. You know what I mean? He was even the first name that came to your mind. AC's better rebound really helped tonight too. And Mal says, trade everyone and build around Semi. Yeah, what are we talking about with the trade player exception? Trade Kemba, get rid of this. Jalen and Jason are the only untouchables? No. There's one untouchable on this team, and it's Semi Ojele. Tommy says, great win, need to stack wins together. Brad put Semi in way too late in the 4th. Tice is really good at basketball as well. Tice does a lot that I feel like he doesn't get credit for. I know I go back and forth on the stream when I say he's an expendable guy, which I do think he is, but he's on the team right here, right now, and I think he does a lot. I think that's no secret. I think he was an unsung hero of the team last year based on the role that he took on, so shout out to Tice. But honestly, you bring up the needing to stack wins together. This is the beginning of what is a very winnable stretch for the Celtics, and they need to go on a stretch. Next 10 games, 8-2 or something like that. They need to knock some of these games out of the park. Donovan says, our bench actually having some, may I say, depth. It helps when you have 2 guys on the bench combined for 44 points. It's easy to say that after the fact, but I'll take it. I'm not taking anything away from it. I'll take it. But yeah, I don't know if it's something we can rely on every single night. Nate says, did Jalen and Jason just not shoot? I missed the game. I mean, they shot not as much as normal. Tatum only took 13 shots. Brown took 14. It was very much a ball was moving. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it was a very much the ball's moving around, and they beat them that way. Semi Ojele got going because the ball was coming to him, not because they had the game plan to start the game. All right, guys, I know we have 2 all-stars on this team right now, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but let's make sure to go to Semi Ojele. No. It found him early, and he was hitting his shots. So the ball was moving, and that's kind of what jump-started it all. AC says, who's doing the graphics tonight? Semi for 34. Hot damn. I mean, hey, we're rewriting history. Semi, it should have said 24. It said 34. Whoops. This is the only documentation that matters. So in NBA history, Semi had 34 tonight. Perkins says they were playing insanely physical against Jalen. Yeah, I think so. Mike says if Payton Pritchard was black, he'd be in the G League. I don't know about that. I think that's a little, that's, quite frankly, I think that's pretty stupid. Veronica's last person I thought would get a player of the game. Yeah, I don't think Semi Ojele was going to be up there in terms of, how many he's going to win this year in the Celtics Live post-game player of the games here. But the fact that he won the second one since we've been doing this, yikes, maybe he's the front runner. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, we gave the player of the game to Semi Ojele here. These player of the games are not going to be the guy that scores the most points. It happened to be that tonight, but it's going to be the guy that I think meant the most to the win, which I don't think, undoubtedly, I think it was Semi Ojele. He started the game hot, and he kept playing pretty well throughout the game, but if we were to take that 24 points a game, you're looking at the Celtics on the flip hand getting smacked by the Raptors. So it's almost like an MVP of the game, too. Veronica says Payton would have been if that was the case, Payton would have been a lottery pick after 2 years in college. Birkin says Jalen 10 assists. Yeah, I will say this, and I know I said they didn't come to score tonight, but 9 assists from Tatum and 10 assists from Brown, that shows that they were involved in the game, right? They didn't just throw up duds. It just wasn't you're not relying on them for assists. So it is a knock in a sense, but these were not dud games for them. They show that they can facilitate, and the ball was moving tonight, and I'll take it. It's a win. Animal says, hopefully Kemba can string some games together, and I know I hope so too. I called 20-plus points from him tonight. I was correct. He had 21, but hey, I was right, I guess. We'll leave it at that. AD says, my life is better when Jeff Teague doesn't play. Yeah, that's crazy. It's I forgot he was on the team tonight, and they still won, I don't think they need him. Carson Edwards got a few minutes too, and that was probably due to that. Carson Edwards got 5 minutes tonight. Jay Caesar says, no Kemba slander from me tonight. He was good. This is like a recurring thing in the stream. Jay either says, Kemba stinks or no slander. But it's fair, you're calling it like it is. It's very much like me and Grant Williams. You give credit where it's due, but if you have that feeling towards him, you're going to call it out when it's present. So fair enough. Veronica says Jalen double. AC says Kemba attacking the hoop against two big men is balls of steel, but maybe ditch a few Kemba. I think he's lost his inside scoring. Kemba Walker's never been like an incredible inside scorer, but he's always been able to score inside against bigger guys. I've seen him get blocked over and over and over and over again this year. So I don't know what it is, but he's just not getting to the rim. Greg says Raptor missed so many open shots. It was kind of crazy. It was. Jay says Payton is legit. Tommy says, I think this is. Come on, we're only a few minutes into the stream and I'm already dropping eyeballs and going cross-eyed trying to read. Yikes. All right, give me 1 second here. I got to recoup, Tommy, before I butcher your comment again. This is why I think it's just silly to hear trade Kemba. Let's give him some time. Played well tonight and is still a great basketball player. Did force a lot in the first, though, which is hard to watch. When Kemba's forcing, I'm almost thinking, okay, he's trying to get it going. And you got to remember that's at a time when Jalen and Jason were clearly not playing well either. So Kemba was probably like, oh, crap, I got to do something. So that's what I'm going to say about the forcing. In terms of this is why you don't trade Kemba, yeah, exactly. You don't trade Kemba because every time he has a bad game, he follows it up with a 20-plus point game, it seems. It's too early to tell on Kemba. Jay says, no Teague minutes, party in my pants. Kale says, Semi tonight came late. Semi was the player of the game. Veronica says, 17, 9, and 6 is not a bad game. If someone else put this up, they would be player of the game because it's Tatum. We expect more. But that's the thing. Like, it is, I totally hear you out, Veronica, there, but it is that we expect more from Tatum. And that's, you're in this league, on this team, especially, you're held to your expectations, right? So I know 17, 9, and 6 is not a bad game from anyone, but you do look for Jason Tatum for pretty much one thing and one thing only, and it's high scoring numbers. And then we love to see him get like 5+ assists, and then a handful of boards. So that's, I'm not saying it was a bad game from Tatum because they had other guys to go off. So there's no reason to like draw concern or say, oh my God, Jason Tatum stinks now, Jaylen Brown stinks now, but it just wasn't their best games, even though it was both of their games were took a step up in other realms. Does that make sense? Kale says, no Time Lord. Yeah. Tommy says, felt like forever since our last win. I know. Jay Caesar says, Tice was having a block party in the fourth. Tice does a lot, man. Greg says, Tice has been the third most consistent player all year behind Tatum. Yeah, I think Tice, he's like the opposite. I don't know what the saying I'm trying to use here, but he's the opposite of bit off more than you can chew. He's like chewing so much more than he bit off. He is given a daunting role of playing against guys that are bigger than him, more athletic than him, better at basketball pretty much every single night, and he finds ways to get the job done. Obviously, you got guys like Gobert and Embiid and those type of characters there, and it's like he's not going to do anything against them, but Tice has done a lot this past year and a half. Let's see. Taco dominated in his minutes. That's coming in from Anthony. Guys, I'm going to ask you, before we get to more chat, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching right now, do me a favor and like this stream. It takes 2 seconds. Hit the like button on YouTube. If you're watching on Periscope or Twitch, make sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. We're here live after every single Celtics game. Sergio says, need to destroy the Pistons tomorrow. I'm saying it, man, that the Celtics need to get going on a run. Kale says, indeed, the ball was fine in the right spots, less ISO, which is what many people are begging to see from the C's. Yeah, you want it to be a happy medium too, though. If you play an elite team, and you're relying on moving the ball around, and then, hey, who knows, Semi Ojele could go for 24. I do think you want to look to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Forget the passing the ball around for right now. You do want to look to them to take over, in a sense, against good teams, which they didn't need to tonight, so it's all good. New says, clearly the team watched the stream last night. Kemba woke up and the bench showed up. Congrats to all of us. We did it. If only Brad Stevens watched these streams every single night, he'd be like, all right, I know what I got to do now. And then he could hire me full-time just to be the Celtics streamer, but it just streams to their locker room. I guess you guys would be invited to. Jay says, I think Tice will get overpaid next season by someone. I think so, too. I think he will. I don't know if Daniel Tice is totally a long-term guy here, just because I think he's going to get I think he's going to be able to get some damn money just from performing for one like season. You know what I mean? Even last year, I think he could have gotten a payday. Now he's kind of following it up and continue going. Yeah, Tice. I think we'll see Tice get a pretty penny coming up. Donovan says more taco minutes. He goes insane whenever he's out there. Need more of that. I think we're still grooming him, man. Tom says PP is also very good. He showed some range tonight. Also up there with Kemba and handles maybe even better. He does have a quick handle. He's more of like I feel like a one move and buy somebody. And he can obviously buy time and whatnot in the paint when he dribbles around and makes everyone kind of go loopy-eyed. But I do love Pritchard's sort of quickness and first step. Jay says, might be safe to say we have a legitimate backup point guard. I think he's proved that to us. I know he's a rookie, and I always keep saying, you don't want to rely on a rookie, right? You don't want to rely on a rookie, but Pritchard's kind of proving that to be wrong. Like, why not rely on Pritchard? What have you seen this year other than his injury, which is BS? What have you seen there to be like, oh, no, you can't rely on him? No, you haven't seen anything like that. AC says, I love watching the Celtics lock in on defense. Tice block on Baines when it was 96-91. That was the biggest play of the game. Tice, man. Tice was important tonight. I know the stat line wouldn't necessarily show that, other than 4 blocks. That's absurd. Love it. But 8 and 5 from him, you wouldn't necessarily see that, but he led the team in plus minus. Just saying. Veronica says, is this right? Taco is a top 10 all-time in efficiency in the NBA so far between Chamberlain and Durant. That is wild. Greg says Kemba did better, but he still needs to shoot better. I think he needs to score inside better. Kemba Walker, like 3 of his misses were layups that he got blocked. You know, he was 5 of 8 from 3. I'll take that any night from Kemba. So I don't know if it's the shooting. Jay says, only bad news is Danny Ainge just saying Jaylen Brown is tendonized. Yeah, I saw that, and that's a little scary because that's something that isn't going to go away if he's even, even if he tries to take one game off in between games, it's not going to be looking too good for him. But let's hope it's not as bad as it could be. I think Jaylen is having an all-star year, and I would hate to kind of see that go down the tubes just because of some knee tendonitis, but it is pretty real. Greg says, still trading Kemba if the deal is good enough and help us. I mean, obviously, right? That's if this deal makes us so much better, this hypothetical deal, then everyone's on the table except Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Semi Ojeleye, of course. But I mean, I'm not in the trade Kemba camp. You guys know that by now. Kale says, some fans are hugely in the trade Kemba camp. I didn't even read this comment before saying that. We both just said trade Kemba camp. Most players have the chance to achieve midseason form. Yeah, Kemba's only played a handful of games, and I think, some of you guys rip me for it. Kemba's had plenty of good games this year. We all focus on the bad ones, but Kemba's had, just as many good games this year, in my opinion. Tommy says, I can't stand Nick Nurse. Kale says, playing outside of his socks. Maybe Tice is shooting a very good percentage from 3. Yeah, he's going off. AC says, I want to smash the hearts. They don't exist anymore. My fingers don't know what to do. John Pisacreta checking in. What's going on, man? Kemba's game can only get better. Can't wait till Marcus Smart come back. Still only 3 games that are big for. Ev missed bench Mohammed with you. What is going on, John? News says only Tice gets a defensive foul when smacked in the face. Dude gets no whistles. The war on Tice is not ending anytime soon, guys. It's not. It's never going to end. He's never going to get the calls that he should. And I've been transparent with it since it started. Like, Daniel Tice does complain a lot. Like, he gives that sort of like, oh, it's on me, even when he does foul a guy. But he's never going to get the whistle. I don't know why, but he's not. Let's see. Ubi says, if a Lou Will for PP trade pops up, do we take it? Do we need scoring like the Clippers? No, because I think Payton Pritchard, I think you almost play the youth card there. Lou Williams is filthy, right? Incredible. But Pritchard's kind of showing a lot of potential here, and I don't know if you necessarily do that. I don't know the contract with Lou Williams either. I'm sure he'd be a little bit more expensive, and who knows if it's expiring. So I don't think you do that. I think Payton Pritchard has all the potential in the world, and I don't know if Lou Williams trading him puts you in immediate contention category. Obviously, he's one of the best 6 men in the league, but if you get him, are you now going to win the finals easily? If not, I'm going to keep hoping for the future here. We got to remember our 2 best players are like 3 to 4 years away from their prime too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know everyone wants to rush because it's Boston, but there is some time here. Anthony says, do you see a Van Fleet and Pritchard? Pritchard has proven to be a complete gamer. I don't know if it's just because they both just played, but I can kind of see the similarities, especially the grind it out. Let me make the most of what I have until I'm a crucial player on my team. I see that already, but even just like the way they play, I see it. Obviously, Van Fleet's a little bit better. Van Fleet's very good. But I can kind of see it a little bit. Stevie's checking in saying big PP. Veronica says, you ignored this. Tell me, without the 19 assists from our 2 stars, where does this game end up? They impacted it way more than anyone noticed. When do your 23 and The 19 assists, I said, I didn't ignore that. The 19 assists were huge from the team. That's not why you're paying Jason Tatum or paying Jaylen Brown. I love the 19 assists from them, but you're not going to always beat big teams. You're not going to beat good teams if Jason Tatum is relied on now for 9 assists and Jaylen Brown's relied on for 10 assists, and they both combined for 29 points. I know it's great to see them do that, but this game's a loss if Semi Ojeleye and Payton Pritchard don't go off. Oh, but they assisted them in their shots. Great. Tell me this. Are you relying on Jason Tatum passing the ball to Semi Ojeleye for a 3 in big games, or are you relying on Jason Tatum taking that shot himself? Right? The 19 assists are great, and I think that it shows that they were involved in the game and definitely took steps up in their game, but that's not what we want to. We don't want to rely on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combining for 19 assists and only combining for 29 points. Tommy says JB should not play tomorrow if he has knee problems. I agree. If they need Jaylen Brown to, to heal up his knee, don't push it right now. You're already in kind of an iffy spot in the standings. Why act like the season's on the line right now, Sergio says, Pritchard better start tomorrow. Don't want to see Teague. I think if Jeff Teague's getting minutes over Pritchard at this point, I don't know what game Brad's looking at. Ubi says, I'm from Toronto. I hate Nick Nurse, but everyone else here loves him. He is a good coach. I think I like him more than most people. He's annoying, but I think he does it to get in the ref's ear and get calls. So I do like Nick Nurse. I think he is super annoying, and he's kind of over the edge a little bit. But I've said it on this very stream. I think if Brad Stevens had a little bit, like 2% of Nick Nurse in him, it could be kind of good. Gear says, in semi-stream, we were asking him about the war on Tice. Greg says, JJ Redick off the table for us. It seems to, so where else do you think we could get comparable to him? I don't know. I think JJ Redick's kind of was that, like, we talked about it last night, right? Or 2 nights ago, whenever it was. Like, that was a big name that I was like, okay, I really want to get this guy. He's kind of one of the top names on the list. He wants to go to the Nets or the Knicks, I think you had sent me, Greg. That's tough to see because now, you go to the Knicks, it's okay, whatever, you're wasting away over there. But you go to the Nets, all of a sudden you went to a direct competition, and all of a sudden it's like, oh boy, what are we doing here? So it does, I don't know if there's a direct competition for him. I'm sure you can get a guy at the same level. Like we've already mentioned the names, sort of Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker of the likes, those type of guys. You can get a guy that sort of can do the same thing, but I think JJ Redick probably has a better basketball brain than any of those guys and any other options out there. We had talked about, JJ Redick's going to be able to help with the shooting of Nesmith. Pritchard, he's going to be sort of like a player coach in a sense. If he doesn't want to come here, none of that's going to happen, right? And the fact that now we see him, linked to the Nets, it's like, great. So now they're just going to, one of our biggest competition in the conference, if not the biggest in some people's minds. It's like, oh, good, they got him. Like, he's going to make that team now so much better. And I don't know, it sucks. It sucks because if he's not coming here, then he's going somewhere else, obviously, and not benefiting this team. When I know Pritchard and Semi Ojeleye went off tonight. I know. But this bench still has issues, and JJ Redick could have fixed that. Dean says, finally a nice win. Not an easy game to come back to play. I from the West Coast trip. Yeah, it was good to get back and kind of look comfortable, right? Is that fair to say? The Celtics just looked comfortable tonight. As a team, like we've already talked about the issue with, in my opinion, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum not scoring and passing the ball a lot, which is all well and good when other guys are hitting their shots. But they just looked comfortable. Like there wasn't a worry in the world. There wasn't all these issues in terms of coaching and whatnot. And, again, my opinion. But I think it's good to see them finally get back home and be like, okay, we can breathe. Like, it's 10 o'clock right now. The game, if we were on the West Coast, would just be starting. I'd still have like 3 hours before we go live on stream. Oh, this is great. I'm going to get to bed on time tonight. Greg says, why don't we sign Rondae Hollis-Jefferson? Guy's 26 years old and is a decent bench player, and he is better than bench guys in our team. Maybe it's recency bias. I don't know if he's that much better than, Semi Ojeleye. I think he's got a bigger name than him because he was supposed to be a better player. But I don't know how much better Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is. I agree with you that, like, I would probably take him because it's not going to take too much, right? But I don't know if he's that much better. I think he's got a name that follows him a little bit more. Not the best, not like a huge name. Well, it is rather long. But, you know what I mean? I don't know if he's that much better. Dean says, got everyone involved tonight. That's true. Danny says they were looking, this is AC, says, Danny says they were looking at a wing and a big man. Do you make a trade? Yeah, I think you have to. You have to make a trade. Gerard says Nurse gave them a championship. He did. I think Nick Nurse is a good coach. Anthony says, I'd still like to see a deal for PJ Tucker. We wouldn't need him to play the 4-5. Could be another 3-and-D wing guy off the bench. Completely agree. Greg, so I looked into this a little bit more. Greg brought up on the stream last game getting Plumlee from the Pistons. And he says, Plumlee shows us tonight why we should try and get him if he's available. Big depth for cheap. I'm guaranteed double-double. I like it. It's funny. Some of the names that get brought up in the stream, I'm kind of like at first hesitant, and then I kind of look into it more, or you guys talk me down off the ledge, and I'm like, okay, I'll take him. I think Plumlee could be good for this team. Noon says, I realize knee injuries come with basketball, but think about our history with chronic knee injuries over the last 5 years. Does Danny need to offer some picks, a new training staff? I wonder if this is happening to all teams type of thing, and we just hear about it more. You know, like everyone seems to struggle with knee injuries and ankle injuries in the NBA. Is it just not notable for other teams, or is it seemingly just so much more common for guys like Gordon Hayward, Isaiah Thomas had the nagging injury, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown? You know, is that a Celtics issue, or is it just the luck of the draw? I don't know. Sports Shy said, just got off work. Give me a summary of the game. Thanks. This is the summary of the game. What are you talking about? But Celtics dominated the Raptors tonight. They really did. Veronica says, Semi probably starts for JB next game. I think he should, right? Like, wouldn't you agree Semi earned the minutes? If Jaylen Brown's out, start Semi Ojele. What are you gonna start Payton Pritchard or Carson Edwards? You're gonna go really, really small again? I think give Semi the minutes. That would be my move. So I agree. I'm there. I agree with that. Tommy says, Smart's last year on a contract. As much as we love Smart, package to get someone else might be worth it. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see it, but I think Marcus Smart's crucial to this team. I don't know if Danny Ainge is looking to move him. I don't know, though. Jay says, I would honestly prefer Brad to give those minutes to Carson, to Aaron Nesmith. Yeah, tonight. I think I agree. I think Carson's like a flash in the pan. I know we've talked about him. I like Carson. I know a lot of you guys like Carson, but I think Carson might not fit into the team's future. Kale says Redick holds more value than all of those guys, also being he's a cheaper option. Yeah, and I just think he's been around the block and been in huge games, made big shots in games. I would love to see Redick. It's not like completely off the table, but it sounds like it's not happening. Veronica said they wouldn't have kept passing if they weren't making shots. They have ballers. They know how to ride the hot hands. Veronica, Tatum and Brown were both getting swarmed by the Raptors tonight. It just so happened Semi Ojele was making the shots. Pritchard was making the shots. If they missed the shots, Tatum and Brown were going to have a tough time scoring tonight anyways. They were getting swarmed. Jaylen Brown was getting mauled, you know, so it worked out tonight. But you can't chalk the 9 and 10 assists up to like greatness tonight. They were making passes. One pass from the wing to the corner, Semi Ojele makes a 3. It counts as an assist for Jaylen Brown. You know, it wasn't like they were going above and beyond to make sure they passed the ball to these guys because they were making shots. They were getting swarmed. It was a tough night for them, but it's good to see that they stepped up in another way. That's where I agree with it. AC says PJ is so doughy. We need Harrison Barnes. I mean, yeah, we talked about it on the last episode of the podcast, episode 100 at least, as a matter of fact. So Harrison Barnes, I think, would be good. I don't know if he's now this is the way I always see it with Harrison Barnes, and I don't know. I could be wrong about it, but he's like you're trading for a superstar in terms of what you have to pay, the money, yada, 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 but then you're not actually getting a superstar. You know what I mean? Like, Harrison Barnes is the expensive option without getting a true superstar in return. He would be good on this team, not denying that. He would be able to score when the Jays aren't on the floor. He can play both ways. He can get to the hoop, score, give you big buckets. But you're paying a superstar price for a guy that, in my opinion, isn't a superstar. But I do think, you know, like I've said on the stream, I said on the podcast, if they go and get Harrison Barnes, use the TP on him, send, you know, whatever else in the deal. Like, I'm not mad about it. That's my take on it, I guess. Veronica says PP is younger, better Redick. I think Pritchard has more of an all-around player than Redick already, or he has the makings to be. JJ Redick has always just been a shooter, right? He can shoot off the dribble, come off a screen, catch and shoot, run the floor. I get it, can shoot multiple ways, but Payton Pritchard has already played better defense in his career. He clearly has a better handle than Redick, but JJ Redick has done what he's done for so long at such an elite level that, you know, Pritchard's got a little bit of ways to go before we say he's better than him, but I kind of see a trend in that direction, just numbers-wise, and what we've seen at the eye test. So that would be great if that were to work out, because he's kind of like a JJ Redick that can also play defense and dribble, which sounds like the dream guard. Let's see. While you mentioned Thomas, why is no one giving this guy a call? How about this? How about the Thomas, the bobblehead that we got here? Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised Isaiah Thomas isn't on. I mean, he's playing Team USA, so he kind of proved that, like, he's ready to play basketball again. I don't know. He always tweets out talking about being patient and whatnot. I think he'll get a call, but it's kind of crazy that he hasn't. Greg says Semi deserves a start after that performance. Kemba and Brown don't play. Yeah, that's true. Kemba is not playing back-to-backs right now either, so I hope Pritchard starts. I know we talked about that earlier over Jeff Teague, and then I think you give Semi the start over Brown, but I have a feeling they'd just go to Carson Edwards, because I don't get it. Brad just loves starting Carson Edwards when he needs to, but he doesn't even play him in games like this. Gerard says, notice Van Vliet was almost a non-factor this game. What's with him? I think he's just on the cusp of being like the truly, truly consistent stud. He's got it in him. He's gotten sort of to the big payday this year, obviously, but like he's not the reliable, I can't say this because I do like the player. He's not the just day in, day out stud. You know what I mean? Like that's supposed to be Siakam for them. And he hasn't really been there. That's supposed to be Kyle Lowry for them. Van Vliet's still supposed to be sort of the third option. He's been playing out of his shoes, and he got the money, and, you know, he had that huge, huge night a while back. But I don't know if anything's up with him. I think he's still sort of on the cusp of becoming really, really, really great. Sergio says, get Aaron Gordon, build around him in the Jays. I do think that he could make an impact now and continue to grow too. Kale brings up a good name, Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza's been around the block, 3-and-D, definitely an interesting name. Again, that's sort of the type of name that I would take here with no questions asked. AC says Redick's 30 years old and makes $18 million. I thought he only made like $11 million or something, AC. But again, you're not looking for Redick to be a long-term fix. You want him to be the bench piece here and groom a couple guys under him. I think he would be a really good option. Ray says, I told you, young Bucks need playing time. Many disagree with me. Edwards got the short end of the stick, but he was a beast in college. He gets no time. He will never evolve in Boston. I know. I hate to see it with Edwards because I think Edwards, you know, years from now will be on a different team, and I don't know if he's going to be a starter or whatnot, but I think he's going to get his shot and he's going to make some plays because he is the definition of a guy that scores in bunches and gets in rhythms. Playing 5 minutes and 44 seconds tonight, you're not going to get in a rhythm. He did go 1 of 2 from 3, but we've seen what Edwards can do, you know, when he's completely turned on, but I don't know if we're ever going to get that opportunity because there's a lot of guys above him on the pecking order. Jay says we should go all in on Aaron Gordon. I would be down. I'd rather Aaron Gordon than Harrison Barnes because I think that he's got more of a superstar potential in him. Anthony says Vucevic would be a guy I'd be interested in. Totally. I would take Vucevic. I'd probably take Vucevic. See, Vucevic, I think I'd take over Harrison Barnes, but again, it's still a similar area there. Like I like Vucevic. It'd be more of a question of Vucevic or Gordon for me. I think Harrison Barnes is the third on that list, no matter how I look at it. But Vucevic could be huge. True big man that can actually stretch the floor too. Like, rare. Tommy says, JJ's not a good option. 36-year-old shooter, shooting 34 from 3, cannot defend or do anything. No, thanks. Well, what? So we're just going to have, you know, Jeff Teague rolling off the bench or Carson Edwards rolling off the bench or hope for Semi Ojeleye 24 points off the bench? JJ Redick, I know he has his limitations, but you're not going out and getting the perfect player, right? You need to get a bench guy that does certain things that this team needs, like scoring off the bench. So I understand JJ Redick isn't a perfect player, but he would be better than a lot of bench guys on this team. And if someone can't see that, yikes. You know, I get it. Like, this is a tough night to talk about upgrading the bench because the bench combined for plenty of points. But let's be real here. The Celtics bench still has a long way to go before being championship caliber. Ubi says Carson got a good amount of minutes before he wasn't producing so bad, benched him. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, honestly. I don't know if Carson's ever really, really gotten the shot. I think he has played many minutes before, like the Suns game. He started, didn't do much. But I think we've seen Carson, when he has gotten opportunity, make some of it sometimes. But, you know, to your point, now I'll agree with you. When he goes in and stinks, it's like, well, now you got to yank him because the only thing Carson Edwards is really, really good at is being able to shoot. And if he can't do that, then he's just a waste out there because he's tiny. Jay says JB, JT, and Aaron Gordon on the wing would be freaky. It would. Anthony says, yeah, JJ stinks. Greg says Harrison Barnes is way too much money for my liking. That's kind of what it comes down to me. It comes down to like, okay, you know, I like the player. I think he would be really, really good here, but are you now paying a guy as if he's a superstar and he's not a superstar? So that's what it comes down to for me. I would take him, but I think that, you know, it's a fair point that I have. Noon says, just found your stream. Two 2 games ago, and this group puts me in a good mood, win or lose. That's how I feel. A nice break from all the craziness in the world. Keep it up. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, we're only going to stay on live just a little bit longer. Shorter stream tonight, so apologies there. I say that and sometimes still go on for another half hour. But if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. I know we're getting a lot of new people lately now that we're really, really focusing on growing the YouTube and taking it away from Periscope. So if you are new, make sure to subscribe. And if you're watching right now, hit the like on the stream. Let me know if you've done it. Hit the like on the stream. We had a great stream last game against the Jazz, even though it was a loss. So News, I'm glad you found us. And yeah, we're really going to take this stream to bigger and better places as we grow. We've been doing it for a few seasons now, and I think YouTube's going to be a big step for us. Pablo says, good to get back in the win column. Bottom line, we need to make a trade and upgrade if possible. I agree. Exactly. Like this, I get it. This was a great game. I know I sound like a broken record. It's a great game for the bench and the couple key players on the bench, but there's still upgrades that need to be made to this team. Let's see. Deshaun says, bro, I wanted to say you have the most interesting, enjoyable Celtics fan base channel. Dope personality. I appreciate that, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and liking this. We go live after every Celtics game. Tune back in. All this kind word stuff too. I feel so like cliche saying it, but I say it every time. Like I get it. I come on here talking to a mic, talk about legit Celtics basketball. I like to mix in some fun and comedy as well, but it's really chat reliant. You know what I mean? You guys honestly provide the next level of content because a lot of these ideas or trade names and whatnot come from your end, and I just speak it into the mic. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate these words that just came in from News and Deshaun, but I want to give the shout out to the chat, which you guys are clearly a part of now too. So there's that. There's my sappy little pitch to you guys. Thanking you so much for making a win or a loss enjoyable every single night. Jay says, very important to have a wing with knee development with Brown. Yeah. I mean, if the knee's going to be an ongoing thing for Brown, that is a kick in the you-know-what. And it's not a kick in the knee, I'll tell you that. It's like, if Brown is hindered now, especially physically, he's supposed to be the explosive, get by the guy, go up, score, you know what I mean? Like, depending on how legit this injury is, that's pretty scary. Oh, why are you scared of sports evidence? Oh, it's scary. No. It's okay. It's worrisome then. AC says, Barnes is a 50% field goal, 45 from downtown, scores 17 a game and can tee up. I like him. I do like him too. I think you're paying more than you're getting though. So I like him, but I am in agreement with Greg that he's pretty expensive. Oh, I lost my place in the chat. Uh-oh. Got it. Kale says, TPs cannot be combined with other assets in a deal. TPS dude straight up. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. I thought you could use it. Oh, it has to be used straight up, but I thought you could use it in multiple, like you could use portions of it. Maybe I'm just misinformed. Greg says a guy we should have signed was Wesley Matthews, but he signed with the Lakers. I think that would be a good signing too. Jay says Dario Saric is underrated name too. I think he would be better than a lot of guys on the team. I don't love him, but again, and I think we've talked about him before, he's the definition of a name that you throw out like, hey, go get this guy. And I'm like, yeah, he's better than a lot of guys we have. Why not? Did they already say no Jaylen Brown tomorrow? I don't know if it's official, but I probably would say no Jaylen Brown tomorrow. Kylon says random, but I miss Rozier. Rozier's one of and still is one of my favorite players in the league. If you guys have tuned into the stream for a while, you know that I love Terry. I knew he was going to go somewhere and be pretty damn good, and he is having a good year out in Charlotte. There was no real practical role for him on this team, but I will say this. If, for whatever reason, it were to work out that he wanted to be a bench point guard for the rest of his career, how good would this team be with Terry Rozier coming off the bench? Whew. Damn. But I know that that's not realistic, but I know there's so many Rozier haters out there, but I love me some Terry, and I'll defend him to the wall. AC says Vucevic over Barnes, but Barnes is way better shooter than Gordon. Gordon shoots 40%. By the way, if I was wrong, Redick is $13 million. Yeah, still decently expensive, but I'll break this down into two things. Barnes is a better shooter than Gordon, but I think Gordon has more growth in him than Barnes. So Vucevic, I agree with over Barnes. Vucevic would be a really, really good ad here, especially because he kills the Celtics. But Gordon, I think, has more growth to his game, and that's when I say he could come in and make an immediate impact, but also grow with this team. Whereas Barnes, I think you're getting the guy you're getting. Owen says, if Tatum and Brown are focused on being playmakers rather than scorers, the Celtics are so much more dangerous. Ball movement finally back tonight. It was, but I've talked about this a little too. I think you do want them to still score 25, combined for 50 or something each. You know what I mean? So it's good to see the 19 assists. But I don't know if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have a goal of, getting near 20 assists between the two of them every single night, I think you're going to have a tough time beating the Lakers, the Clippers, or, the Nets, Bucks, Sixers. I think they need to be relied on for their scoring. I'm not breaking any news here, though. But I do agree, the playmaking ability, the ability to have no fear of passing the ball, go right ahead. A few more comments here, guys. If you are watching, I feel like I'm plugging this over and over again, but sorry to everyone that tunes in, but I know we get new people in here like every minute. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this stream, and if anyone's been in here the whole stream and hasn't liked the stream yet, you've made an enemy out of me. Like the stream. Gear says, I hope Romeo gets a shot when he comes back. Yeah, I want to see it. I don't hope for it. I'm still like, I got to see what we get from Romeo, but I'd like to see him get his shot just to see what we got from him. Let's see. What's AG's contracts? A year left in money? I don't know. Someone can fill that in the chat. I'm not too sure. AC says, one name I've heard is Tim Hardaway Jr. That would be a guy. I think he could be good on this team. Jay says, tomorrow will be a tough game against the Pistons. They always play hard. Both coming off a back-to-back, right? The Pistons played tonight. Yeah, they played Indiana and got smoked. So I think that'll be a tough one. They beat us in that first one earlier in the year when Smart missed the open shot and whatnot. So yeah, it'll be a good game. Gears is another thing to think about. Gordon starting to push Smart to the bench with PP, which would be fun. Yeah. Anthony says, I wake up with night sweats thinking about Jalen's knee. I hope it's short-lived thing. I agree. It's scary if it's legit. Tommy says, someone that could be a good option for trade is Robert Covington from Portland, 3-and-D guy. I like that name. I do like that name. He's had a couple big games against the Celtics, too. I like that name. You can use the TPE in different places. They also have a TPE from OKC for Poirier, too. Oh, that TPE must be expensive for my boy Vinny P, right? No, yeah, so that's what I thought, too, AC. I don't know if I don't know if... So, yeah, Kale's saying you can split it, but it can't be used along with other assets. See, I'm learning here. Greg says, go get Jake Layman. We went to the same high school, and he is young and a good young player on the Timberwolves. So you're not biased at all towards him, huh? Jay says, Gordon is a 6'10". You can throw him in at small forward and small ball 5 lines at times. I butchered that chat there. Yikes. I know what you're saying, though. You can put him at the small ball 5. Deshaun says, I really think if given consistent minutes every night, Semi could average double digits. I think Brad's lineups throw these guys off sometimes. Go listen to this is what I'm asking of you guys. Go listen to the latest episode of Tommy Points, my podcast with Dante and Riley, Dante on Deck and Color Sports. Episode 10 just launched. It's called Tommy Points. You'll find it's on my Twitter and whatnot. I was happening to be listening and figured out how Brad Stevens comes up with his lineups. I happened to be listening to the Phoenix game, and when they mentioned a little piece of information, and we were all floored. We had a ball on that episode. So go check out that episode. I kind of talk about where Brad Stevens is getting his lineups from. It was fun. Ray says, we have a good team. We need one more solid piece of the puzzle and play as a team like Utah. They play solid old school basketball and simply trust each other 100%. See, that's a good point. So I've talked about how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they pass the ball almost, not too much. I hate saying that, but we can't rely on them to pass the ball that much every night. But to have the trust to pass to Semi Ojele is completely different than just continuously passing it to him because he's making shots. To have the trust that, it's a good pass no matter make or miss because they're almost trusting that it's going to go in, that's huge. And this team down the stretch in late in games, it seems like Jaylen Brown only trusts himself. Jason Tatum only trusts himself. Kemba Walker only trusts himself with the ball, I'm not saying that's the case, but we've seen a lot of ISO ball late in games. Whereas the Utah Jazz, glad you brought that up, Ray. Perfect example. At the end of the game, they're like, hey, Bogdanovich, you shoot it. No, Ingles, you shoot it. Donovan Mitchell, you shoot it. And they're all just making shots. So those names I mentioned on the Jazz side, I think I'd rather them getting the shots than like a Semi Ojele, but hey. Carson Edwards never got a shot. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he ever really got a shot. He did play, and he has shown a little bit of interest, I guess, in some of his minutes, but he never got a true shot. Carson Edwards, I guarantee you, has always been in the mindset of when he misses, he's like, oh crap, I'm gonna get benched for it. No way Carson Edwards has been comfortable. AC says 2.5 from Poirier, 5 mil from Cantors. They do have a lot here. Ray says, I love this stream. Everyone here is positive and cool. Nobody talking smack to each other. Very respectful. That's because we don't tolerate it. We have the trolls in the stream plenty over the years, but, the positive numbers just wipe them out. It's not a play. We'll get negative, right? But it's when we're all getting negative. It's not the trolly negative BS. It's like this team stunk tonight. Let's get negative. But yeah, I'm glad you're tuning in, Ray. I'm glad to see you in the stream, a few nights in a row now. Appreciate that. Dean says, go get Kevin Gamble. He would be a good fit to this team. Greg says, pretty sure Jake Layman has an NBA record for his first career game for threes or something. That might have to look it up. What? No way. Mooby says that missing piece was healthy Hayward made this team positionless. Yeah, I talked about it. I was like, oh, you're not. I said it tongue-in-cheek almost. We're not going to miss Hayward as much as possible, as much as we think. But I think you put Hayward on this team, they'd be way, way better. That's fair. Jay says, okay, got to go. Have a good one. Go Celtics. I'm going to take that opportunity, too, to say goodnight to you guys. And I can't believe this. It's 10:40. We're signing off the stream. And I said at a half hour that I was going to, turn off the stream pretty soon. It's been 20 more minutes. So I told you guys, whenever I say, oh, we're shutting down the stream pretty soon, it's always a long time. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We're here live after every single Celtics game. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I know the real ones in the stream still are subscribed to the channel, but if you're not, subscribe to the channel and like this stream. And, tune in for the next one. Love what we're building here, and I love going live after every single Celtics game, win or loss, talking to you guys. We'll catch you in the next